Hello, everybody. How are we all doing today on the 6th of July? And welcome to Glenn's Dynamic Sports Corner on 12OZSportsRadio.com. I am your host, Glenn Kaplan. We are live in Baltimore, Maryland, which is home of the Baltimore Orioles and the Baltimore Ravens. Welcome to Burland. I hope you all had a wonderful 4th of July weekend and are ready for today and the week to get started nonetheless. Welcome to the 84th show here, my 84th show on here on 12OZSportsRadio.com. And I do have a couple of breaking news segments to pass along this morning, both related to the sport of baseball nonetheless. Number one, Anthony DiComo said that MLB Network will announce the MLB schedule tonight in a special at 6 p.m. Eastern. And a couple of the rumored games for the 23rd of July, the New York Yankees and the Washington Nationals and the Los Angeles Dodgers and the San Francisco Giants. And the second one on July 24th. And a couple of these games that I saw, the Atlanta Braves and the New York Mets and the Pittsburgh Pirates and the St. Louis Cardinals. The second breaking news related to baseball is that the Washington Nationals, the Houston Astros, the Oakland Athletics, and the Los Angeles Angels have all canceled practice this morning due to not having their coronavirus test results back. And I know how a lot of people are sitting here with this morning. Sean Doolittle, the closer for the Washington Nationals, spoke out on it. And you want to know who also spoke out on it this morning? The statement released from Mike Rizzo, the Washington Nationals general manager and president of baseball operations. Per MLB's protocol, and all players and staff were tested for COVID-19 on Friday, July 3rd. 72 hours later, we have yet to receive the results of those tests. We cannot have our players and staff work at risk. Therefore, we have canceled our team workout scheduled for this morning. We will not sacrifice the health and safety of our players, staff, and their families. Without accurate and timely testing, it is simply not safe for us to continue with summer camp. Major League Baseball needs to work quickly to resolve issues with their process and their lab. Otherwise, summer camp and the 2020 season are at risk. And this was also along with Mike Rizzo, president of baseball operations and general manager. Kyle Brostowitz, Director of Communications, Washington Nationals Baseball Club, Nationals Park, and this was posted on Joel Sherman's Twitter page. Yeah, I could kind of I'm not going to wake up Rob Manfred and wake up to the government for the coronavirus testing. I'm going to stay in the D.C. side of things here and transition into this, speaking of Washington, D.C. Stick with the Washington, D.C. sports. Everyone's talking about it. The Washington Redskins potential name change for years to come, maybe starting this year. Ron Rivera has been already in contact with owner Dan Snyder about the new nickname potentially. And I'll give you the list of what the potential team names may be in a minute. But let's be real here. That this has been going on for years. People have been calling for them to change the team name for years. Nike is taking the stuff down. Now that money talks, you better get a team name or you ain't going to be selling any merchandise. That's what the prospect of business is all about. You better make a decision quickly. Because if you don't make a decision quickly, good luck making revenue for your team this year, because you're not making any revenue anymore with that team name. And with how everything has been going on these days across the world. That's just the way it has been. So Dan Snyder needs to wake up, and Ron Rivera, I know he's been in close contact with him. They're trying to figure out something together. What's really bad about all this is that all three of Dan Snyder's minority owners do not want any part of this football team anymore. That's how bad they don't want to deal with Dan Snyder's nonsense. They simply don't. And FedEx, also, the stadium named FedEx Field in Landover, Maryland, and they'll be there till 2027. FedEx is requesting them to change the name. And let me say this. If they ever want to go back to Washington, D.C., not Southern Maryland, or not where they practice sometimes in Northern Virginia. You gotta, if you want to be back in the heartland of Washington, D.C., you better get rid of the team name, or it's not going to be allowed in the nation's capital. Let me just put it in that right now. That's all I have to say. You better change the name, because these are the times we live in. That's what I feel about the whole Redskins name. So now let's get to the point about the team names. You have the Washington Warriors, the Washington Skins, the Washington Federals/Senators, and the Washington Griffins. So those are some team names that the Redskins maybe potentially may come up with. There's also maybe another couple of teams that you can maybe come up with. I don't think of them. I'm just gonna float it out there. The Redbirds, the Red Cows. You could throw all sorts of different names out there. Redbirds, the Red Cows. That doesn't sound as like nation's capitals wise as like the Warriors or like the Federals or the Senators, because you got what? The Nationals, you got the Capitals, and you got the Wizards in our nation's capital. So there's really not much time to make the team change name. And you got training camp starting what? July 28th? That's 3 weeks, around 3 weeks from now. Had this occurred in January, February, we'd be calling team change name. Yeah, we would have some time. Now you're under a lot of pressure to get stuff done now. And it's like surgery. You're like in an operating room. It's like the Redskins, you gotta figure this up. You gotta hurry. Because if you don't hurry, it's gonna be a lot of backlash on them this year. And I don't know how teams are gonna view it. Or anyone else across the NFL or anywhere else for that matter. We'll see. Because the first regular season game is scheduled for Thursday, September 10th. The first full Sunday is September 13th on a Sunday, and then the Monday night games going to be September 14th. 2 of them. That is, nonetheless. So, moving on from the Washington Redskins, and I'm going to stick to the football side of the matter here. Let's go with David Njoku is requested a trade from the Cleveland Browns, nonetheless. So, because they signed Austin Hooper, and even though the Cleveland Browns want to keep him, David Njoku wants a trade. And David Njoku has a bunch of talent. He was a first-round pick selected 29th overall in the 2017 NFL Draft. He was drafted based on a project, and it shows he's got flashes of potential with his raw athleticism. I know why the Browns want to keep him is because the way Kevin Stefanski, the new head coach, runs his offense. 2 tight ends set with Austin Hooper and David Njoku to set up play action for Baker Mayfield. And it sets up the run game also with Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. You got Odell Beckham Jr., Jarvis Landry, a wide receiver. And it's the same way he's going to run the offense like he did in Minnesota. You had 2 tight ends, Kyle Rudolph and Irv Smith Jr. And who else did you have? You had Dalvin Cook over there. You had Adam Thielen and Stephon Diggs. Oh, and it set up play action for Kirk Cousins real nicely. That's the way he's going to run his offense, and I think it's going to succeed if it's going to be set up like that. And it's all going to be up to Baker Mayfield. But speaking of Baker Mayfield, he's got to throw it and have time to throw. And if Njoku's there to start the year, then he'll probably see some passes thrown to him in the offense. However, agent Drew Rosenhaus had said that he wants out, Njoku that is, even though the Cleveland Browns want to keep him. This was reported by ESPN's Adam Schefter. So, who are some of the teams that may want to go after David Njoku? I said, here we go. The Washington Redskins is the first team that comes to mind. They are pitiful offensively. Dwayne Haskins needs a tight end. Ron Rivera knows how to use his offensive personnel. So, that's one team that comes to mind. Here's a few others. Green Bay Packers get Aaron Rodgers, a tight end. The Arizona Cardinals, you could get Kyler Murray, another tight end. You got DeAndre Hopkins and Kenyon Drake, Kyler Murray over there. Seattle Seahawks get Russell Wilson, a tight end, even though you have Will Disley. The Detroit Lions get someone for Matthew Stafford. New York Jets, Sam Darnold needs a tight end. Oh, and Njoku's from Cedar Grove, New Jersey. So that's not far from there. The New England Patriots, Belichick needs a tight end. If Jared Stidham or Cam Newton, whoever's starting week 1 for them, definitely needs a tight end to throw to. And the Buffalo Bills, they like Dawson Knox, but Josh Allen, get him another proven first-round pick. David Njoku, and then you also got Stephon Diggs. Maybe you're now building up a nice offense in Buffalo. Njoku is your one and have Dawson Knox as your two along with Stephon Diggs as your top receiver. So those are some of the teams that I think Njoku could be traded to. He's only 23 years old, from Cedar Grove, New Jersey. He only played in 4 games last year due to injury, caught 5 passes for 41 yards and a touchdown. And in 36 career games, he has caught 93 passes for 1,066 yards and 9 touchdowns. And he also went to college at the University of Miami in Florida. Could he have a 10-year career? We'll see. Maybe a 15 touchdown guy, more like 10 touchdowns. That's his, I think, his pop projection each year, though. Nonetheless, next up on the agenda. Welcome to the National Hockey League. Yes, sir. I think we're finally potentially getting the NHL back. I've been always saying that like a broken record for how long with this? Well, it appears now that the NHL and the NHLPA finalized an agreement on official protocols for Phase 3 and Phase 4 of the the return to play plan for the 2019-2020 season, but continue to work through details for a memorandum of understanding for a collective bargaining agreement extension. That's why some of these things are taking longer than others. I guess they want to figure out the CBA now, then not have to worry about it later. So that's smart on their end. This is what NHL Deputy Commissioner Bill Daly told the Associated Press. So there's some other ratifications and other things that have to be involved here. 2/3 of the league's board of governors and majority on the players' executive committee, full membership will need to vote in favor for everything to pass. Okay. So training camp, they're aiming for next Monday, July 13th. Players are allowed to opt out of summer playoffs without penalty. It's sometime this week that they have to let their teams know. July 26th, travel day. There will be the travel day to get to either Edmonton or Toronto. And August 1st for the official day for the Stanley Cup playoffs to begin in the cities of Edmonton and Toronto. Families are allowed to join for conference finals and Stanley Cup finals and will be allowed to share hotel rooms per TSN. The NHL policy reportedly says that any teams who fail to comply with, quote, bubble protocols could be subjected to, quote, significant financial penalties and potentially the loss of draft picks. Well, at least they don't get to get them kicked out of the area like the NBA does, right? Well, it's all a serious matter. I guess you gotta follow by the rules in these unprecedented times. Players who receive authorization to leave for medical reasons or extenuating circumstances can come back but must quarantine upon return and receive 4 negative COVID-19 tests over a 4-day span, according to TSN's report. That's got to be a tough one because will they even get the test results back right away? I see that the MLB is struggling with that alone. on a 3-day basis. So how could you maybe get it on a 4 consecutive day span? Or basis? Or whatever you basically want to call this nonetheless. Okay. So now I'm about to raise a question. About the bubble. And about when they open training camp. I think if I recall correctly, the NBA is having training camp in the bubble. I think the NHL needs to reconsider having training camp in the United States of America and get out. Get out of the United States before your COVID testing gets worse. Before you get more positive tests. Because you had a St. Louis Blues outbreak. 4 players tested positive. And so did a coach. They're the second team that had to close the facility for a few days. And the Tampa Bay Lightning were the first ones. And you see all these outbreaks now that are happening in the NBA with the Los Angeles Clippers, Milwaukee Bucks. They're just like, we're shutting this down. We ain't going to bother. We're just going to go down to Orlando. All right, NHL. It's time for you to follow suit. Get out of the United States. You should not take the risk of having your season canceled because you're going to have more cases in the United States before you can even get to Canada. Get to the bubble. You should start practicing in the bubble as soon as you possibly can. Because this is not going to... I don't know how this is going to work. And yes, I believe they're not going to cancel the season. But let's face facts. You're going to have a lot less risk catching it if you're in Canada than you are in the United States right now. America. It's not looking good when it comes to these strains. Oh, and better yet, there's maybe more potential diseases going over on in China. Oh, and the bubonic plague? Hashtag and 2020 now. That's all I have to say on that. Because let me say this. Hockey needs to get out of the United States. If you don't get out of the United States, you're asking for trouble. Well, at least the games will be out of the United States. But I'm really curious to see how it's all going to work out. I know NHL Commissioner Gary Bettman's not going to cancel because he'll look foolish if he did cancel the season nonetheless. I mean, the NBA's going to the Walt Disney Studio Resorts in Orlando this week. In Orlando, Florida. But the NHL's kind of a little behind the game here because with the CBA, they're trying to figure out the potential flat salary cap potentially and some other things to go with it. So I think the NHL is going to be okay. But I just think they should get out of the United States now instead of the next 2 or 3 weeks. It's like, you know something? It's like an evacuation for like a hurricane. With a hurricane. You know there's a hurricane coming within like the next week and a half, say 7 to 10 days. So you start preparing. You're not going to leave the last day. You're not going to leave the last day. You're going to leave 3, 4, 5 days before to get out of there and get somewhere safely. And that's what I feel the National Hockey League should do when it comes to potentially resuming the season north of the border in Canada. And that's what I think should happen. But it won't, though. Because I guess it is what it is nonetheless. Next topic on my show here. The MLB. MLB coronavirus continues to make headlines across sports, as I was just mentioning. So the Los Angeles Dodgers starting pitcher David Price has decided to opt out of the 2020 season. Atlanta Braves first baseman Freddie Freeman, New York Yankees second baseman DJ LeMahieu, and Minnesota Twins third baseman Miguel Sano, all tested positive for the coronavirus. Also, there were some other players that did test positive nonetheless. Here we go. Freddie Freeman's wife spoke out on the coronavirus. He had he had a fever, he had chills, he had a lot of things. Freddie Freeman. And he never got hurt and he was placed on the IL. So we'll see how long he's on there for. Los Angeles Angels outfielder Mike Trout, he's still unsure about playing in 2020 because of his wife. His wife is expecting, and he's also wearing a mask during practice, and he's not the only player to do so. Trout's mom posted something about on Twitter, if he can wear a mask while practicing, so can you. That seems to be the agenda now. I saw another picture of San Francisco Giants catcher Buster Posey and New York Mets first baseman Dominic Smith as well doing the same thing. I mean, it's as simple as that. Are there going to be players during the baseball season where they're wearing a mask? I'm curious to see if they're going to wear a mask this year. I wonder if some are going to wear a mask during games. I think it'd be tough, but we'll see. And then Masahiro Tanaka got hit with the line drive by Giancarlo Stanton. He has a concussion, but he's going to be okay. He was at New York Presbyterian Hospital. Thank goodness it was nothing more serious than that, but those are scary. Giancarlo Stanton did some liners. I'm like, oh, geez. And I don't know if you saw the video, but it was scary. And Giancarlo Stanton's like, oh, dear. And I saw on Twitter that the New York Yankees, not because of the coronavirus test results, but because of the heat, they're going to be doing inter-squad scrimmages at night. And I'm sure at this time of the year, a lot of teams are going to do inter-squad scrimmages before maybe they play a couple of exhibition games before the regular season starts. And I'm also kind of excited to watch the MLB Network's schedule release tonight. That will be fun to watch. I'm curious to see how the New York Mets schedule is going to wind up this year. Really curious to see how it's going to wind up. Next. Well, before I get into my next segment, baseball, hopefully there's a season, but if you don't get the coronavirus tests back, then how are you going to expect the season to be played? I mean, you got to get on with the program here. You can't get more guys infected. Because I know how paranoid and how sensitive some people get sometimes. But this was the right move by the Washington Nationals, the Houston Astros, the Oakland Athletics, and Los Angeles Angels to cancel practice today, though. You had to do it. Because if you're not going to get the test results back, then what's the point? Next up, the NBA, and I'm going to throw this in with the TBT, the basketball tournament. So it's going on in Columbus, Ohio. I saw it's like college basketball players who used to play in college. And is this what the NBA is going to look like when it comes back with no fans? And I thought it was pretty good. These teams actually look pretty good and ready to play. I hope this is the case when the NBA comes back. It actually wasn't a terrible product that the TBT had. So it's just a tournament. It consists of 24 teams. And I'm just curious to see. Hopefully this is as exciting, just more intense at the NBA level. Yeah, this TBT tournament, of course, is exciting. But I love how the NBA run. Hopefully this is how the NBA looks. They're probably going to have their own home floors with them. I saw them bring it to them in Orlando. And it's going to be really, really exciting to see. So there are no crowds. And I thought the courts looked pretty good. And there are 24 team names in this tournament. So, I'm going to list you off all the 24 team names in this tournament, and I'm going to give you my rankings from least best to best afterwards. So, actually, I'm just going to do it in, I guess I'll do it in that order. And what I have ranked as team names wise. So, I thought the team name D2, I did not like that. I thought that was 24th. And they're actually ranked 24th seeding-wise in this tournament. My 23rd best team name that I had for this tournament was... Where's number... Big X. I did not like Big X, and this team was seeded 9th. My 22nd ranked team, I don't know, it didn't catch to me. The money team, number 22. This seed, they're number 7. My number 21, my 21st ranked team, and what I like as in team names is, where's the number 21 ranked on my list over here? Team CP3. I mean, that gets original as CP3. I mean, really? And they're ranked number 13 in this tournament. Next up, who's number 20 on my list? Number 20. Number 20 on the list. Armored Athlete. At Armored Athlete at 20, and they're ranked number 15. Number 19, Power to Par, their Clemson team, alumni team, and they're ranked 18th. Stillwater Stars from Oklahoma State. It's an okay name, Adam, at number 18. They're the 21st ranked team in the tournament. Number 17, Primetime Players in the tournament, they're ranked 20. Number 16, Menamaki, they're a Purdue team, and they're number 19 ranked in the tournament. Number 15 on my list. Number 15 is Heartfire, and they're number 14 ranked, and the 14th team, Brotherly Love, ranked 12th in this tournament. Number 13 is Peoria All-Stars. They're the 10th ranked team in the tournament. 12th, Red Scare. They're the 8th seed. Dayton. They're a Dayton alumni team. And they might have actually gone deep in the tournament this year if we had a March Madness because they had a number 1 seed. And what's funny is Obi Tippin. I don't think he's on that team, but he was projected to be a very high draft pick. Next up, where's my spot? So Red Scare, and then number 11, Eberlin Drive, they are ranked 5th. Number 10, Golden Eagles, Marquette. Number 9, Challenge ALS, they are ranked 6th. Number 8 on my list is Overseas Elite. They're the 2nd best team. The 7th, what I think is the 7th best name in this tournament, War Tampa. They're ranked 17. Number 6, Team Hines. They're ranked number 11. Number 5 on my list is number 5. Who's number 5 on? Who did I have as... Heard that, Marshall Thundering Herd, an alumni team from Marshall. Number 4, Sideline Cancer, they're 22. Heard that's 23. Sideline Cancer's 22. Number 3, Carmen's Crew from Ohio State. Number 2 is... Who's number 2 on my list for the basketball tournament is 2 House of Pain. They're ranked 16 from Illinois. And number 1 is Boeheim's Army, ranked number 3 from Syracuse. And and I think these team names are okay. Want to know what I like about Boeheim's Army? I think it should be, for the SpongeBob guys, Plankton's Army. That would be a great team name. Plankton's Army. Maybe we should have a basketball tournament of 24 teams and have it all SpongeBob names. I think that would be funny. So maybe I could do that on Thursday. in honor of the basketball tournament. You know what? Maybe I should do that for Thursday show. 24 teams on the basketball tournament style, and maybe come up with 24 SpongeBob names for it. All right. I just think that would be funny and hilarious. I actually think it would be funny. I don't know how many of you guys actually watch that show. But it's like you could have Team Armor Abs and Team Steel and Krabby Patty Formula, Team Plot Scheme and for Plankton's schemes that he comes up with, and Team Love and Team Pearls, Team Whales. I'm just throwing things out there. I could come up with a list for you guys on Thursday. And I'll just give you any 24 that come to my mind. And then I could share it with you guys and be like, oh, okay, this is funny. So, yeah, and it's for fantasy football, for anything else for that matter, be like, oh, let's come up with some funny team names. Oh, here's another one. You could have Team Mini and Team Wumbo, baby. All right, enough joking around. So do you guys remember when I had NHL jerseys? So here we go. If I had to choose an NHL jersey from each team, Pittsburgh Penguins, Sidney Crosby, he's obviously the captain of that team and the Heartbeat Heart Soul of the Pittsburgh Penguins. I have his jersey. Next up, the Washington Capitals, Alex Ovechkin, Columbus Blue Jackets, Zach Werenski, Carolina Hurricanes, Sebastian Aho, New York Islanders, Matthew Barzal, New York Rangers, Igor Shesterkin. Next, New Jersey Devils, Miles Wood, and Philadelphia Flyers, Carter Hart. So this is who would I buy? Which jersey of each team would I buy? Because there's I had this list a while ago. I had to prepare for show prep. I think it was show prep 82 because I came up with nothing. But I gave you guys some content. And now I'm sitting here okay, I had this, my backup plan just in case I ran out of things to talk about. So I thought this was the perfect time just to mention this on my show. For the Atlantic Division, who would I buy from each team? Boston Bruins, Brad Marchand. Tampa Bay Lightning, Steven Stamkos. Toronto Maple Leafs, Austin Matthews. Montreal Canadiens, Carey Price. Florida Panthers, Jonathan Huberdeau. Detroit Red Wings, Dylan Larkin. Ottawa Senators, Thomas Chabot. And Buffalo Sabres, Jack Eichel. Yep. So, you got Eichel is the Heartbeat Heart Soul of the Buffalo Sabres. And I know how much he's been displeasured in Buffalo, but hey, he's the face of your franchise right now. He's simply the face of your franchise. Next, the Pacific Division. Edmonton Oilers, Connor McDavid. Vancouver Canucks, Brock Bossier. Calgary Flames, Johnny Gaudreau. San Jose Sharks, Joe Pavelski. Anaheim Ducks, John Gibson. Los Angeles Kings, Anze Kopitar. Arizona Coyotes, Phil Kessel. And Vegas Golden Knights, Marc-Andre Fleury. Hold on one second. So, I actually happen to have a Phil Kessel and Marc-Andre Fleury shirt for both when they were in Pittsburgh. Kessel from the, the Stadium Series in 2017. And actually happened to wear that same shirt when they were playing the Philadelphia Flyers in 2019 with the Stadium Series at Lincoln Financial Field. And then you had the one at Heinz Field in Pittsburgh. The Heinz Field one I thought just felt better in Pittsburgh than it did at Lincoln Financial Field. I'm probably just saying that because the Penguins won that one. And they should have won against the Flyers too last year. But that was I guess a lot of bad plays at the end of the game, misfortune. The weather wasn't great in either of those games, I remember. Because I remember actually watching both of those games. And I found it, I love outdoor hockey games. I really love outdoor hockey games. I'm going to try and slow down here a little bit. I think I'm kind of rushing through things a little bit. So, that's how I feel. I love outdoor games. Hopefully they're going to do that next year, and they're going to. I wonder if they're going to start with the NHL Winter Classic next year as the opening game with the St. Louis Blues and the Minnesota Wild. I'm curious to see if that's actually going to be the opening game next year to drop the puck on the 2021 season. I'm sure they're going to do like maybe 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, or 50 games next year. All right. Next up on here, I'm going to go to the Central Division. Chicago Blackhawks, Patrick Kane, Winnipeg Jets, Patrick Laine, Minnesota Wild, Zach Parise, Nashville Predators, Philip Forsberg, Colorado Avalanche, Nathan MacKinnon, St. Louis Blues, Alex Pietrangelo, and Dallas Stars Jamie Benn. So that's it for the NHL. And which NHL jersey I would want to buy. Next up on this, let's see, I still have the NBA jersey, the MLB jersey, and the NFL jersey. Alright, I'm going to start off with Major League Baseball. New York Yankees, Gleyber Torres. New York Mets, Pete Alonso. Boston Red Sox, Chris Sale. Philadelphia Phillies, Bryce Harper. Oh, don't get on me, Nationals fans, for that one. Ooh, Bryce Harper. Oh, my brother is celebrating that one in the background. Baltimore Orioles, Trey Mancini. Tampa Bay Rays, Blake Snell. Toronto Blue Jays, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., Washington Nationals, Juan Soto, Miami Marlins, Isan Diaz, who's going to be a star, Cleveland Indians, Shane Bieber, Detroit Tigers, Miguel Cabrera, Minnesota Twins, Max Kepler, Chicago White Sox, Eloy Jimenez, Detroit Tigers, Miguel Cabrera, Minnesota Twins, Max Kepler, Chicago White Sox, Eloy Jimenez, Kansas City Royals, Whit Merrifield, Pittsburgh Pirates, Josh Bell. St. Louis Cardinals, Paul Goldschmidt. Cincinnati Reds, Trevor Bauer. Chicago Cubs, Javi Baez. Milwaukee Brewers, Christian Yelich. Los Angeles Dodgers, Cody Bellinger. San Francisco Giants, Buster Posey. San Diego Padres, Manny Machado. Colorado Rockies, Nolan Arenado. Arizona Diamondbacks, Madison Bumgarner. Los Angeles Angels, Mike Trout. Texas Rangers, Corey Kluber. Oakland Athletics, Chris Davis. Houston Astros, Alex Bregman, and Seattle Mariners, Jared Klenick, who's going to be a star in the major leagues. Now, moving on quickly into my NFL jerseys, and I'm going to start quickly off with the New York Giants and Saquon Barkley. He will be a captain this year and the heart and soul of the New York Giants. And maybe you have Daniel Jones as your captain. I have a Saquon Barkley jersey that my uncle actually bought me. He bought me it. And it was very cheap, and it was like, it's white, and it's the old throwback of Thursday Night Football with the color rush, and I love those color rush uniforms. And it's like, oh, I love this stuff. And Saquon Barkley is primed and destined for a big year for the New York Giants if he is going to be healthy. Next, Philadelphia Eagles, Carson Wentz. What I simply don't understand is, and I say this to Eagles fans or whoever else for that matter, why on the planet Earth do you not like Carson Wentz? As I said on my show on Thursday, you actually think Jalen Hurts is going to be the answer for the Philadelphia Eagles? Well, yeah, what's up with you and your obsession with Nick Foles? And yeah, I know you got the statue of, like, Philly, the special against the New England Patriots. Like, meh. And I love Carson Wentz. He's one of my favorite quarterbacks in this league. Washington Redskins. Chase Young. Chase Young is gonna be a star in this league. If he's what I think he's gonna be, an Ohio State beast. He's gonna be one of the best players on the Washington Redskins, I think. Next up, the Dallas Cowboys. Ezekiel Elliott. Ezekiel Elliott is one of the best running backs in the National Football League. He simply is one of the best running backs in the NFL. Green Bay Packers. Aaron Rodgers. Minnesota Vikings. Kirk Cousins. Chicago Bears. Khalil Mack. Mack is a absolute train. He's a train wreck when you get to the quarterback. Excuse me, sorry. Khalil Mack is simply one of the best defensive players in the NFL, and I still don't understand why the Oakland Raiders traded him. Well, they're now simply the Las Vegas Raiders. It is. Next, Detroit Lions. Matthew Stafford. Atlanta Falcons. Matt Ryan. Carolina Panthers. Which player would I buy? Christian McCaffrey. New Orleans Saints. Drew Brees. Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tom Brady. I know all those jersey sales are going up because of Tom Brady. But what do you think? I like Mike Evans. I'd maybe get his jersey too. I like Mike Evans. Or maybe Chris Godwin, but it's like, nah, it's like Brady or Evans you got to get. I don't know if you could get anyone else on that team. Yeah, Godwin's not a bad receiver, but Evans is the guy. Seattle Seahawks. Obvious choice. Russell Wilson. San Francisco 49ers, Jimmy Garoppolo, the Los Angeles Rams, Aaron Donald. Come on, that's an easy answer. Well, maybe you could go Jared Goff. I would say maybe Todd Gurley, but he's not even on the team anymore. He's not even on the team, and Aaron Donald's the heart and soul of the Los Angeles Rams, Arizona Cardinals, Larry Fitzgerald, New York Jets, Sam Darnold, Buffalo Bills, Josh Allen, New England Patriots. Now I go Julian Edelman. Maybe you could go Stephon Gilmore. Miami Dolphins, Devontae Parker, but I know a lot of people are getting that Tua Tagovailoa jersey for the Miami Dolphins. I don't know if he's starting in week 1 for the Dolphins. But all I do know is that Tua's jersey sale is basically skyrocketing. That's all I know when it comes to Tua Tagovailoa. Because Tua Tagovailoa may be a star, but I'm not sold on him being the star at the next level for the Miami Dolphins. I'm simply not sold on him yet. And we are going to see when the time comes about Tua Tagovailoa stardom in the NFL for the Miami Dolphins. Cincinnati Bengals. Joe Burrow. Maybe AJ Green, but I think this is the last year of his contract. And I'm not sure if they're going to bring him back. Cleveland Browns. Nick Chubb. Although I did have an Odell Beckham Jr. shirt for when he was at the New York Giants. I also like Baker Mayfield, Denzel Ward. And I don't know if you want to hear this, Steelers fans, but let me tell you something. Want to know what jersey I should probably get out of them all? Myles Garrett, baby. Myles Garrett is another jersey that I actually happen to like. That would be another player on the Cleveland Browns that I would maybe have to get. If I had to buy one jersey from each team. There's no doubt in my mind I would definitely consider getting a Myles Garrett jersey. That's how I feel. And then you also got Nick Chubb on the team. That's my favorite pick. Pittsburgh Steelers. TJ Watt. Baltimore Ravens. Lamar Jackson. Kansas City Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes. Los Angeles Chargers. Joey Bosa. The Las Vegas Raiders. Josh Jacobs. Denver Broncos. Von Miller. Indianapolis Colts. Quentin Nelson. Tennessee Titans. Derrick Henry. Jacksonville Jaguars. Gardner Minshew II. The Houston Texans. Deshaun Watson. So I think the NFL, has some very interesting choices for each player I had to choose if I had to buy an NFL jersey for each and one of the respective teams. In the NFL, it's like, I just find it happen to be, I just happen to like my list here a lot with the NFL. Next up, lastly, but not least, for today, the NBA, the Eastern Conference. I will start with the Atlanta Hawks. And I hope to go slow here. I started off with Trae Young of the Atlanta Hawks. Trae Young, and I was completely wrong about him when he entered the league. Trae Young is a sharpshooter like Steph Curry is. Trae Young, I thought was a ball hog in college, even though the statistics said he averaged 8 assists a game. He is the one-ticket grabber for when you're a Torch or even an Atlanta Hawks fan. And the people in the front office in Atlanta happen to used to be from the Golden State Warriors front office. You also have another guy in their backcourt, Kevin Huerter from the University of Maryland. Those guys are thin and not very good defensively. But this team maybe can go places in the future. You also have DeAndre Hunter, John Collins, Cam Reddish, I don't think, who did much in his rookie year for Atlanta. And they're also going to probably get another top 5 pick this year. And I don't think the NBA draft is as strong this year as it potentially was last year. And Trae Young will get more help. And I remember how good Atlanta was a couple years ago under Mike Budenholzer. And now look at what he's doing with the Milwaukee Bucks this year. He is simply doing good things with them. And I remember one year when they were trying to do a tank job, and they actually happened to almost upset the Indiana Pacers in the first round. They had them on the ropes in Game 6. And that was when Roy Hibbert looked back for the Pacers until you had Paul George Hill, and some other players coming up clutch for the Pacers in that time period. And now Trae Young, wearing a new day with the Atlanta Hawks, and he's just an inspiration on that town and on that city for Atlanta for years to come. And I'm sure Atlanta is happy with him, even though they made a draft day trade with the Dallas Mavericks and they landed Luka Doncic. That was swapping the 3 and the 5 selections. Next up, Boston Celtics. Jason Tatum, the heart and soul of the Boston Celtics. And Jason Tatum has popped this season. Jason Tatum is a nice wing player, but as I've said a few times on this show, he's not an A player, he's a B plus player. Kemba Walker is their A player on this team. And I think he's their only A player, but I wouldn't mind the Kemba Walker jersey either. Jason Tatum is a very nice wing player, wing defender. He can score 30 at various times. And we'll see where it goes from here and how his development goes. Cleveland Cavaliers. Kevin Love. Chicago Bulls. Lauri Markkanen. Charlotte Hornets. Devontae Graham. The Miami Heat. Duncan Robinson. The Milwaukee Bucks. Really? You can all take a guess for this one who I buy for the Milwaukee Bucks. Giannis Antetokounmpo, baby. That was not a hard one to guess at all. That was simply not a hard one to guess at all. If there were maybe another guy, it's not Chris Middleton. Maybe I'd go a guy like a Dante DiVincenzo, who led Villanova to the national title a couple years ago. Toronto Raptors, Pascal Siakam, who's a rising star in this league. There's a guy I also like on that team, Fred VanVleet, but you also got Kyle Lowry on that team too. The Philadelphia 76ers, Joel Embiid. And I like on the Echo, sometimes and how it goes to 6 games, go Joel Embiid. And then you got Ben Simmons. I don't mind Ben Simmons. I think you can't go wrong with either or, but I'm a bigger Embiid fan than I am Ben Simmons. Next up, the Brooklyn Nets. Kevin Durant. Indiana Pacers. Victor Oladipo. He's decided to opt out of the rest of the NBA season. Orlando Magic. Aaron Gordon. Detroit Pistons. Blake Griffin. New York Knicks. Kevin Knox. And the Washington Wizards. Bradley Beal. So with the Washington Wizards and Bradley Beal on that last one. Next up, the Western Conference. This is the last ones for today. And I'm going to say this to you. The Los Angeles Lakers. LeBron James. Well, I have a LeBron James shirt. I have a couple of them actually. From when he was with the Cleveland Cavaliers, excuse me. And then the Los Angeles Clippers, Kawhi Leonard. Although I wouldn't mind a Paul George jersey. I remember talking to a friend of mine, about Paul George. I told my friend as a joke, I said, you want to go to the beach sometime? You want to roll up? I put on a Kawhi Leonard shirt. You put on a Paul George shirt. And if you like me, dude, you're absolutely killing me with this stuff. I talk to my friend about this all the time, and he's like, dude, the Kawhi Leonard, Paul George stuff, it's like, and I love tag team duos. It's like you got one guy, you got your Batman, you got your Robin, you got your Wingman, you got this, you got that. So I think it's all swell, all fun and games for lots of reasons, right? Okay. I can't believe I just realized this now, so I'm going to say this a few times. Use promo code 12OZ Sports, all caps, for deposits up to $1,000 from my bookie. I can't believe I forgot to say that at the beginning of the show. And then in the middle, I'll say it a couple more times within the next couple of minutes. Next up, Denver Nuggets, Nikola Jokic, Dallas Mavericks, Shocker. And I spelled his name wrong. What? Luka Doncic. Luka Doncic. Let's see. Luka Doncic. San Antonio Spurs. DeMar DeRozan. Houston Rockets. James Harden. Memphis Grizzlies. Ja Morant. New Orleans Pelicans. Zion Williamson. And I know how many jerseys are probably being bought of Zion Williamson. Zion Williamson. Phoenix Suns. Devin Booker. Golden State Warriors. Klay Thompson. But you also cannot go wrong with Steph Curry as well, I suppose. So, use promo code TroubleZ Sports, all caps, for deposits up to $1,000 from my bookie. And then let's get into these last couple of players. Sacramento Kings, De'Aaron Fox. Oklahoma City Thunder, Steven Adams. Some may want to get like a Danilo Gallinari or Chris Paul. Or maybe in the future with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Portland Trailblazers, Damian Lillard. Some may go with CJ McCollum. Utah Jazz, Donovan Mitchell. And Minnesota Timberwolves, Karl-Anthony Towns. Alright, ladies and gentlemen. I am out of time here. Thanks for tuning in to Glenn's Dynamic Sports Corner. I am your host, Glenn Kaplan. I hope you all enjoy the rest of your day and also your week as well, nonetheless. I will be back on the air at the same time as Thursday to maybe go over some more NBA and NHL topics, nonetheless. I'll have some more regards to the 2020 NFL regular season, nonetheless, and other NFL topics related to it, nonetheless, and maybe some more about MLB Opening Day 2020, nonetheless, and then maybe some more merchandise as well. Nonetheless, alright. Use promo code 12OZ Sports, all caps for deposits up to $1,000.